last night, man. Last night.
Yeah, wasn't very good. Wasn't very good. Look, I wasn't, as I said last night. I'm looking back at the performance. I think if you're looking at positives, which are very few, it was better than the first leg. We're probably unlucky not to get one goal out of the performance in the end. We showed some fight in the second half, but unfortunately, Chelsea were never in danger. They had the whole time to control. They only. I feel like they only let us back in the game because they took the foot off the gas. They're 3-0 up in the tie. I feel like they didn't need to.
I felt they beat us in both games without really getting out of second gear. Really,
yeah.
In the both ties.
I think more this one they didn't get out of second gear. The first one I thought they were maybe not their best, but they were pretty good. But this time, yesterday, I don't think Chelsea were good at all.
Even when you say they were pretty good in the first leg, it was only really the first half. For 45 minutes, they were really good. They were good. I wouldn't say really good. And second half, they didn't even do much. We gave them 3 goals throughout the tie. That was the only 3 goals that were scored. I mean, just not good enough from Tottenham. But I've got to say this. I know people probably don't want to hear it, but I think Antonio Conte got it wrong in both legs. I'm not saying if he would have got it right, it would have done anything to change the tie, but I don't think he gave us the best chance of winning in both ties.
What could he have done in the first leg?
In the first leg, I thought he should have packed the midfield with 3 men, made it a bit more difficult for Chelsea. I can't remember what the left-back situation was for the first leg.
We played Doherty.
I know we played Doherty, but was Reguilon fit?
I know him and they're both out of the squad, I think.
But I think for sure, in the first leg, the setup of the team was wrong. I thought we should have put 3 men in midfield. You saw in the second half when we changed it. I know we didn't put 3 in midfield, but we put 4 at the back. Or did we put 3 in midfield in the second half? Anyway, he changed it.
We put 4 at the back in the second half.
He changed it in the second half, and we looked a lot better. But with the damage was pretty much done by then. Yesterday, I thought I had no clue why he played Galini, no clue why he played Doherty, no clue why Skip didn't play. Well, I do have a bit of a clue because he needs a bit of a rest, but Højbjerg needs a rest too, although Højbjerg was probably one of our better players yesterday. And I don't know, I just feel like Conte didn't make the right decisions, even though I'm saying that even if he did make the right decisions, we probably still wouldn't have won. But still.
It would make us more competitive.
Yeah.
I think yesterday, I don't get why Lloris didn't play. That was very confusing to me. And when it comes to the left back situation, I understand. Okay, look, Reguilon's on the squad. I don't know why. I don't know the reason. So you let that slide.
Well,
but why?
I actually read last night. I don't know how true it is, but Vaz Coney.
Yeah.
He said that Reguilon, they were protecting a hamstring problem. That's what I heard.
Okay,
but I don't know if it's true or not.
It might be true. If it is true, whatever. I don't really know why he was in the squad, but I'd say that's true. That's fair enough. But why not play Sessignon? I didn't get it. Why start with Doherty when we've seen how inept he's been recently at that left wing back position? He's so poor there. Every time we get forward, the move breaks down as soon as it hits Doherty, and we know how crucial we are at the attacking phase using our wing backs. And I thought it was really poor. And then obviously, him and Galini, they were the 2 main ones.
Tanganga for me. Tanganga, last 2 games, he's had a horror show, man. He's had a horror show. Why not just stick Joe Rodon in there, man? He's on the bench anyway.
Rodon has been much better.
I mean, Tanganga has made detrimental mistakes in his last 3 games now. In his last 3 games, lost the men in the corner for the first leg, lost a man in the corner for the second leg, and what was the one before? I can't remember, but it was also a detrimental mistake.
Morecambe.
Was it Morecambe he made a mistake in?
He lost a man, didn't he?
Well, there you go. So there's 3 games in a row. So I think Rodon should have played. I'm not saying these decisions would have made us win the game, but with the state Tanganga's in at the moment, you can see he's clearly lacking with confidence. You can see there's an issue there. And I think something hasn't looked right with Tanganga since that Crystal Palace game. He hasn't, and I wouldn't have played him yesterday. I wouldn't have. Would you?
No, I would have played Rodon, but that's my opinion. I don't know. Like, it's not like Rodon has done like something. Like, it's not as if Rodon has convinced me that we should have played him. If you understand,
because he hasn't played.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like it's not like It's not like he left out Dyer for Tanganga. If you understand, it's Rodon. You know what I mean? It's not like we know that I'm convinced that if Rodon would have come in, things would have been different. It could have been the same. So I don't know.
It could have been, but if Tanganga's making these mistakes every single game, then why not change it up?
Yeah, but I don't think it's a terrible decision to stick with Tanganga, who we've seen have good games in other in other big games.
We haven't seen him have a good game since that Man City game, pretty much.
Yeah, when was the last time we saw Rodon have a good game?
When's the last time we saw him play, apart from Morecambe? Apart from Morecambe, when he was playing with an injury.
Don't know.
Exactly. So, I mean, give the guy a chance at least.
Right, I'm just saying it's not like putting in. It's not like I don't count that as a mistake, in my opinion. Not playing Hugo over Golini, that's a mistake. Playing Tanganga over Rodon, I don't see that as a mistake.
I get what you're saying. I completely get what you're saying. But all I'm saying is with the state Tanganga is at the moment, I just think he needs a bit of time out of the team.
Yeah, you can argue that. You can argue that.
That's my case for it.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely needs. I think he needs a loan deal. He needs to be playing week in, week out at a club where they rely on him, rather than us, where he's in this position, that position, we're in and out of the team all the time. It's no good for him. He's not getting any rhythm, and that definitely needs to happen. Yeah, look, as soon as that first goal went in, the tie was pretty much over, wasn't it? After 15 minutes. As soon as the
lineups were called out, I think the tie was over pretty much. I mean, I woke up with probably deluded confidence yesterday, thinking that, maybe we can do something, we've seen it before, stranger things have happened, all that. I thought at home with the fans, if we're aggressive and we get an early goal, then maybe something could happen yesterday. But as soon as the lineups were announced, I just lost all sense of confidence whatsoever. I just didn't understand it. And yeah, we came out and played all right for the first 10 minutes, but still didn't lay a glove on them. But yeah, as you say, as soon as the goal goes in, that's it for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and it's easy for Chelsea after that. I just felt like, as much as he could have made some changes, Conte, I just felt like we were fighting a losing battle. I just think Chelsea are the better team. I actually think our performance yesterday.
But you can beat a better team if you have the right attitude, the right mentality, if you're aggressive, if you're, you know what I mean? You
Correct,
can beat a better team.
But it's also sometimes a better team are just better.
Yeah.
And I think yesterday, I don't think we had the wrong attitude. I really don't. I think we tried hard. I think we tried to force our way into the game. As you say, we started for 10 minutes trying to force the issue a bit. But Chelsea, ultimately, if they because they're the better team, if they have the right attitude, it's very, very hard to overcome that. And then, especially with the injury, the players we have missing and the players coming in for those players missing, that's such a downgrade. Then all of a sudden it becomes even harder. Conte said you could have played that game 10 times, and he said, I think he said 9 times out of 10 Chelsea win. And that's the case, I think, unfortunately for us. That's not an indictment on Conte or the players, just where we are at the moment as a squad. When we play teams at the level of Chelsea, who have an unbelievable squad, we need to be we have to have our very best lineup just to have a chance of winning the game.
Yeah.
As soon as
just a chance to be competitive in the game.
As soon as we have 2 or 3 injuries, as Conte said yesterday, we're in trouble, and I think we saw that yesterday. Chelsea can afford to have 2 or 3 injuries, and it doesn't affect them, because if Silva's injured, you got Christensen coming in, and if James is injured, you got Azpilicueta coming in, and if Kante doesn't start, you got Kovacic and Jorginho coming in.
Their whole bench could get into our first 11.
Exactly. So for me to be pissed off and annoyed that we got outplayed by a team that's better than us that's not annoyed about. I actually think in general terms, like if you look at the 90 minutes as a whole, I generally don't think we did that badly. We were actually probably unlucky to lose the game. That singular game, we were probably unlucky. So I don't know if Conte could have done much more with the players that were actually on the pitch. He could have obviously made a few individual things, you could argue, but I don't think that would have probably changed the overall picture of the game. Maybe it could have meant the game finished 1-1 instead of 1-0. That's all that would have changed if he brings in Session or Lloris. So I don't think it's the. I am not angry at the performance. I'm angry and annoyed that our squad is this poor that it literally takes an injury to Dyer and our back four is a shambles. That's literally the situation.
That's the case, isn't it? Because you can. I can call out Conte as much as I want for whatever he did, and play Golini, play Doherty, yeah, fair enough, whatever. But ultimately, the blame doesn't lie with him. The blame doesn't lie with the players on the pitch. The blame lies with the hierarchy for putting us in this situation. That's where the blame lies. And we can talk about Conte's decision and the players not being good enough till the cows come home, but what's the point anymore? Because we need new players desperately if we're going to salvage anything from this season.
Yeah, like
desperately.
When you've got a player like Eric Dyer, who, by the way, as much as he's playing well, he's not the best. He's not like an unbelievable. He's definitely, even he is an upgradable player, but he's our first choice.
Again, shows the state of the squad.
And when he's injured, it's Tanganga or Rodon. That's who comes in, right? So either one of them, you could say, oh, we should have picked this guy or that guy. Either one of them is a massive, massive downgrade on Dyer.
Yeah.
And that's a downgrade on a player who could be upgradable.
Yeah.
So
it's a downgrade on a player that we wanted out last window.
Exactly. So like that's the difference when you're competing against a team like Chelsea. I actually think, obviously we can complain and whatever, and we can say, oh, the state of the squad, and it's absolutely right when we're looking to compete for the top four and big things. If we played against a Leicester team yesterday, for example, we've played against an Everton, if we played against a Villa, if we played against anyone but a top four team, I think we have more of a chance. But when you play against a team like Chelsea, City, and Liverpool in this kind of game, and we're always going to be found out with that kind of lineup. It's always going to happen, and with this squad, basically a few injuries, it's always going to be found out. Yeah. And that's where we are. We were outplayed by a much better team, who are much better players, and a manager who's been there for a much longer time. So that's just reality for me. That's not, I wasn't angry with Conte or the players yesterday. That wasn't my feeling after the game. I understand a lot of fans' reactions after the game is always immediately to go, oh, where's the passion? They weren't fighting, or all this way, they're pathetic. All this.
I think they were trying their hardest yesterday.
Yeah, that wasn't my feeling yesterday. I was watching the game.
I think they were trying their hardest yesterday, and their hardest is not good enough.
That's just reality.
That's the ultimate thing.
And that's even sadder in a way.
Yeah, it is. And you can't really, as much as I said what I said just before about Conte, you can't really blame him for trying new things, because ultimately he's trying to fit in like square pegs in round holes and trying to make stuff happen and make stuff work and change things. But you can't change things because this squad is in an absolute dire state. Dire state.
But one thing I would say is,
no pun intended there.
One thing I would say is, obviously he was explaining his decision to to rest Lloris for Galini. And he said we have a lot of big games coming up, and we have 3 games in a week or whatever. And Galini played every game in the cup before Galini played every game in the cup before yesterday. So, but did you think maybe Conte underestimated how big of a game it was yesterday? And did he prioritise the North London derby?
I mean,
and if he did, is he right to do that?
I think he did underestimate how big of a game it is, because I would have played completely the strongest 11 from the off yesterday. Hugo included, Sessegnon included. But look, we can talk about the selection, but like we keep saying, like even if we did have our first team, we still probably wouldn't have gone through yesterday.
I know, but I'm just wondering where Conte's priorities are. Is his priority, do you think, as of yesterday for the North London derby?
I mean, you've got to say it is, because he didn't play his best team yesterday. So I think that, I don't know. I just don't know where that decisions came from yesterday. I really don't, because what you associate Conte with is a guy who wants to win trophies, right? Mm-hmm. The trophy is, the top 4 is not a trophy. We're in a semi-final. I know we're 2-0 down, but at 2-0 it's still salvageable. So I just don't understand why he didn't play his best team yesterday. It must be resting players for North London derby. There's no other explanation.
Yeah, doesn't make too much sense to me, I guess. And that's what I'm thinking. He must have been thinking that he thought the North London derby might be the more important game. Obviously, when it comes to the race to the top 4 and stuff, it's very important. But we can technically afford to lose the North London derby, or even draw the North London derby, and still be in a decent position in the league in terms of points and gaps and whatever. But the semi-final is the semi-final. If you're out, you're out. That's it.
Yeah, but the thing is, the way he's looking at it, potentially could be like if he plays Sessegnon's got a history of injuries. If Sessignon overdoes it yesterday and comes off injured, then we're screwed for the next 3 games. We've got Arsenal, Leicester, and Chelsea all in the space of a week coming up in the league.
So maybe that's how he's feeling. Maybe
that's the way he's thinking about it.
Yeah, maybe just thought it could be a very big week for us, and if we get too many bad results, then all of a sudden the league table can be looking very different.
Yeah, so we've got at half time of the Chelsea game, not half time of the game yesterday, but at the middle of the in between the first leg and the second leg is what I mean by half time. Yes, we're losing 2-0, and yes, we've got a fighting chance in the game because it's only 2-0, but we all know we're pretty much basically out, don't we?
Yeah.
So maybe that's just the way he's looking at it, but I think it was just a bit of a defeatist mentality from Conte with that lineup yesterday. But from what I said, with the 3 games coming up in the space of a week, then I can probably just about see his argument, to be honest, because it is valid because it's 3 massive games, isn't it?
Yeah, and you don't want to also, as much as we want a trophy, we need to make sure that we're still in that fight for that top 4 and being very competitive, because ultimately, as much as some fans don't want to hear it, top 4 is very important, and Champions League is very important, and it's about not only convincing players like Kane and the like that the club's heading in a better direction and they want to be on the big stage, also attracting players to come here. Champions League football is very important. So and the club, he's clearly been told by the club to prioritise, so they're always going to tell him to prioritise that, aren't they? So
just like they did with Jose.
Exactly. So that doesn't surprise me.
Now it's in a cup final, not semi-final.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. But so that doesn't surprise me. So that's always going to be the case, isn't it? If there's a choice, he's always probably going to prioritise the chase for the Champions League than a trophy like that.
Yeah. And it's just especially because of these 3 games all in the space of 1 week. They're so important. We need to at least pick up 4 points in the next 3 games. We have to, at least minimum 4 points, you would say, in the next 3 games. So
yeah,
can you see it? I can't at the moment.
Well, I wouldn't put it beyond us.
I'm not saying I wouldn't put it beyond us.
I can, yeah,
Definitely
why
got
not?
it in us, but 4 points is a big ask in the next 3 games.
Look, as much as
I
understand, look, 4 games in a row now, we're not been playing well. 2 legs against Chelsea. Watford, we only scraped by 1-0. When Southampton, we only got the draw, which we should have won. Morecambe, yeah, okay, as well. So 5 games in a row. But, we lost to Chelsea twice, but we are still unbeaten in the league.
Yeah.
After 8 games. It's really not that unthinkable that we could get a draw against Arsenal and beat Leicester and then lose to Chelsea. That's not crazy to think.
I'm not saying it's unthinkable. We've definitely got it within us, but I think at the moment, with the way we're playing, with the way Arsenal are playing, look, let's be honest. We're going to Stamford Bridge. We're not getting anything from Stamford Bridge. Let's be honest. 2 games against Arsenal and Leicester, we need to find 4 points from those 2 games.
Well, if Dyer is back, and obviously Lloris is back in there, then we have either Reguilon or Sessignon at left wing back. I give ourselves much more of a chance. Much more of a chance.
I give ourselves more of a chance in North London derby than the Leicester game.
Why?
Because we're terrible away from home. We just can't play away from home.
We're beaten in the last 2.
Bad.
Got 4 points out of the last 2.
Come on, man.
We have.
One was against Watford, and the other one was a poor performance against Southampton.
Still 4 points out.
I know it's still 4 points, and Leicester are much better than those 2 teams.
Then Leicester have also been poor at home as well.
Much better than those 2 teams.
Still poor though. There's no reason why we can't go there and get a win.
Look, I'm not saying there's no reason. Of course, we can go there and get a win.
Vardy's out there.
I'm just not backing us to go in there and get a win. Like, if you were a betting man, would you actually go and put money on Spurs going and beat Leicester?
Depending on the lineups.
Because I wouldn't.
Depends on the lineups. If Dyer's there, and if Reguilon or Sessignon is there, and then depend. I have to see the lineup.
Let's be honest, we just about scraped past Watford with a last-minute goal.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a tall order with our away form. We've got massive question marks against our away form right now. This whole season, we've been terrible away from home.
Yeah, I'm not saying we'll batter Leicester. We could. There's no reason. It depends if we've got our back four or our strongest back, our strongest defence there. We could even include Romero by the sounds of things. then if we can keep it solid and get a goal, we can nick a win.
We can, but will we? That's the question.
Why not?
Why? Oh, there's many reasons why not.
Leicester, no one to fear this season.
No, they're not. But you know, they can also pull it out the bag in a one-off game, and they seem to like playing against us sometimes. What is Leicester's form actually at the moment? Have they not turned it around slightly recently?
It's still inconsistent.
They beat Watford 4-1 in the Cup. They beat Liverpool 1-0 in the Premier League. They lost to Man City.
Yeah, they should have lost that
6-3.
game.
They beat Newcastle 4-0. I mean, they're not on terrible form by any stretch of the imagination. Their home form, they've won their last 5 home games.
What, in a row?
Yeah.
So they've turned it around a bit at home.
So, and not only have they won their last 5 games at home, they've scored 4, 4, 4, 3, and then 1 against Liverpool. So, I mean, they are playing well at home at the moment.
Okay, but I still find them inconsistent.
Yeah,
but it's still 2 games away. You don't know what the situation will be when we play them.
That's true. That's true. But look, let's move on.